In today's video, I'm going to go over some helpful little tips and tricks that I feel like you should know before you start your journey to unlock Borealis or are super close to even completing it, since I have finally unlocked it myself. Now, I'm not going to be going into insane detail, I'm just going to try to point you towards the right direction, so hopefully in some kind of way these little tips and tricks do help you out. The first one up is leveling up of your weapons. I used to always say the best way to go about doing this is zombies, but zombies seems to have a cap until when you actually can fully level up your weapon. Personally, what I decided to do was play during a double weapon XP weekend, which they do come around every so often. They do have XP tokens that you can use, but I specifically played multiplayer. Inside of here, I was able to play on shipment 24/7. It could be me 24/7 or a mixture of shipment with something else. And through here, you can actually just simply level up your weapon. You don't have to be a good player, which is I know a thing that a lot of people that are specifically zombies gamer might be kind of having an issue with. Even if you're not the best player, you should be leveling up your weapons pretty fast, but you can obviously still do this on zombies. Now, for unlocking of the camos, there are 3 different options. The third and the worst is simply play the game. This is just something I feel like I have to mention because I feel like there will be 100% a person down in the comments saying this, but you are going to be wasting your time. The other 2 methods that I really recommend for you to do is the exfil, which is kind of the second best method, and the number 1, the fastest method, is doing the outlast objective. Now, when you activate the outlast mission, all you have to do is look around for where the zombies will be spawning in, and here you can actually complete most of your camo challenges. Most of them will require you to get 100 kills just after activating a field upgrade, so when you do this, all you have to do is activate a field upgrade and then start killing zombies. If perhaps you're in a game, let's say with an energy mine, all you have to do is just throw it as far as away as possible and then kill the zombies. There's also ones that I found challenging, like getting the tactical kills. With this, the zombies from here should be dropping them, and if you're actually near an ammo resupply, you can just simply run over to it and resupply your tacticals. This specifically means like flashbangs, gas grenades, so on and so forth, not lethals but tacticals. And just overall getting the 250 kills with, let's say, ammo mods, just the weapon itself, getting critical kills and other stuff like that. This is the way to go about it, and it is honestly the fastest method of just doing the outlast mission. Another thing I recommend for you to do just to speed up this process so much faster is spawning with 2 weapons. To get the second weapon slot, you do have to complete Act 1, which isn't anything too difficult to do, but once you do this, you have 2 different weapon slots. And I know this is really risky, but the way I look at it is high risk, high reward. Because you spawn in with 2 weapons, you could potentially make progress on the second one after finishing the first weapon, or you could also just get the 2 weapons done in one game. Once you have the weapon fully leveled up, all you have to do is just get the 4 camos and then 100 kills on top of that in that exact same game. And the way you can actually tell sometimes that you get 100 kills for the gold camo is sometimes there's a chance that you will level up. That's when I found out that, oh, this is the moment I probably hit 100 kills. But even on top of that, I recommend for you to just get more than 100. Whenever you feel like you're done, just try to get a few more kills just to get definitely up to that 100 kills, and definitely spawn her with 2 weapons just to speed up that process a tiny bit more. Now, another camo challenge that I know people will definitely have a tiny bit of issue, because I personally did as well, is the specific elite or special zombie kills. So for the first one, let's look at the mimics. The best way to farm mimics is completing the infested strongholds. In the tier 1 part of the map, you will have only 1 mimic spawning inside of these. It's definitely the most safest option because you will be able to kill the mimics really fast, but if you want to have 2 mimics spawning in each time inside of these infested strongholds, then definitely go to tier 2 and complete the strongholds there. Don't do this in tier 3, you're just wasting your time. Now, the way you actually get these mimics specifically is running around and actually getting through the stronghold itself and trying to find the spawn where the mimic will pop out. The way you can also tell it is by finding a specific chest that looks like it's not actually covered by whatever the hell infested stronghold chests are covered by, and that should be your mimic. Now, obviously another way to get mimics and other special zombies is by completing the bounty contract, but this is just the fastest method since you could be getting up to 2 mimic kills. The next one is the disciples, which there are specific spawn points for disciples, just like there are for the mimics and the manglers, but the best way to go about doing the disciple kills, it is also another high risk, high reward, or as I like to say now, death, high reward. Because the best way to go about getting disciple kills is going into the dark ether to go fight Gorm Gant. But don't fight Gormgant. All you have to do is go over to the pillar where the camera is at, which is straight away when you spawn in. Go to the right pillar, and once you activate it, this is the pillar for disciples, so you will be getting a bunch of disciples spawning in, and this is definitely the best way to farm them. And inside this situation, I recommend for you to find 2 weapons that need disciple kills just to get this out of the way as fast as possible. This was definitely frustrating until I remembered that this pillar is here, and this is 100% the best way to farm disciples. And the reason I said death and high reward is because you most most likely will not be able to fight Gormgand. I just recommend for you to essentially die at the end of doing it. It is something that will suck, but at least you'll finally make progress and won't have to spend a ridiculous amount of time running around the map to look for disciples specifically. And now lastly, for the Mangler kills, the best way to get these is, I guess you could say, similar to the other method that I mentioned, like completing bounties or going to the Dark Ether, or you could simply just go over to the exfil sites, and this is where Manglers will always be spawning in. I will talk more about the spawn points of Manglers, but if you just activate the exfil point, this is where you're going to be finding Manglers all the time spawning in each time you recall the chopper. Now, another little thing, this is actually a very little thing. What I recommend for you to do is each time you're done playing, I recommend for you to craft as many schematics and put them into your actual backpack or stash after you're done playing. The reason for this is because by the time you come back playing again, so let's say you're done, you're gonna go to sleep, or let's say you're done because you're gonna go to school or do something else like work, then just craft the schematics so the next time you hop in, you don't only get the chance to use one rare ether tool for a rarity camo progression, you get the chance to progress with multiple, because let's say you crafted one and the recharge of it has already passed by, so you will be able to craft another and make even more progress. Obviously you can run around and look for these specific things, but I think doing this makes your life easier, getting those 4 perks for those camos, getting that rarity for that camo, so on and so forth. And now on to the last one, and that is for the Serpentinite camo itself, which requires you to get 10 special or elite zombie kills. There's actually a few ways that you can do this to make it super efficient and super fast. Personally, I unlocked this camo basically within less than a day, maybe even less than 10 hours because of this strategy that I utilized. So obviously I mentioned earlier that you can go up to exfil points and get your Mangler kills. The best way to actually utilize these Mangler kills, because they do count for this camo, is by constantly spawning in the helicopter to exfil. Obviously don't exfil, but kill as many zombies as possible as fast as possible, because this will be spawning in a higher rate of Manglers each time. It's not guaranteed, but it does tend to happen, and it's something I discovered while grinding for those 36 different weapons. And again, another thing I recommend for you to do is spawn in with 2 weapons, but also on top of this, you could also spawn in with a friend or multiple friends who could also have the weapons you need to complete. Go over to these exfil spots, your friends concentrate on the zombies, they drop you the weapons that you need, and you can complete multiple weapons really fast, removing the whole let's now exfil, go through the loading screen, let's now ready up, after I created my class. It just will kind of speed up the process, but obviously you kind of need friends that are willing to do this for you and are actually not minding, you know, them going over to an exfil point and constantly dropping your weapons, yada yada. But spawning in with 2 weapons at the same time really does make this really fast and really efficient. One thing that you will be running into is other players, and I can't really tell you anything to do with that. They will most of the time become annoying just because people do also have to grind that same camo, but also some players just go over to exfil points to level up their weapons or progress in camo. So if you are one of the people that need to progress in their camos and don't need Mangler kills, just go to an outlast point. You can do that by yourself and you're not running in the way of anyone who's trying to complete the Serpentinite camo themselves. And if you want to level up your weapons, there are far more better ways than going over to an exfil point. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this video was at least informative. I just wanted to cover some of the points that I personally struggled with. This camo grind is very easy, but it is time consuming, so that's what I try to concentrate as much as possible in today's video, to eliminate as much time of grinding this camo so that you can get this super fast and super easy. The most difficult part is grinding out those levels. And then if we're gonna get into, I guess, the specific weapons, personally I found the marksman rifles to be the most challenging. For some odd reasons, sniper rifles were pretty easy, but another thing to note is you actually don't need to do every single weapon, because DLC weapons have already come out with season 1, and even pre-season we had an LMG, so you don't have to do like 3 weapons. So personally I didn't do 1 sniper rifle, and I also didn't do 1 LMG just because I didn't feel like grinding out those levels on those weapons. So you could choose a weapon inside of the assault rifle, some machine guns, yada yada, something that has a ridiculous amount of levels, and just kind of leave it out, because if it has an added on weapon to it like a DLC weapon, you don't actually have to do all of them, because it probably requires you to do 3 out of these certain class, but let's say there's 4 in that one. So pick and choose. It definitely makes this way easier and way faster, and you can always return to that in the future whenever you feel like it. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this video did help you in some kind of way. If you did enjoy, be sure to subscribe. We're on the road to hitting 50,000 subscribers, and we're getting closer and closer every single day, and a like would also be very much appreciated, as that does help out the YouTube channel and the video itself. Without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Good luck with the grind. Peace out.